up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into the new Gemini 1 and 2. So I actually didn't do a video with the Gemini when it first came out when I bought it. So I'm gonna do looks with that one, but I don't have that many green palettes here with me. I usually do my comparisons on my Instagram, and I just make highlights of the reels that of the stories that I do with them. So you can go to Gel Beauty 87's Instagram for that. I am going to show just one or two palettes, so that way this video isn't super long since I gotta do two different eye looks. But this is what the outer packaging of the Gemini looks like, and this is the new one. I do have the old Gemini, but if you all remember, I showed you all in the video that mine was falling to pieces, like literally like this part where the cardboard is glued to the back of the packaging had came off, and the only thing was holding was a magnet, so the bottom part just flaps off. So I took advantage of getting the bundles because I desperately needed one. So this is what the palette looks like on the inside. The only difference between the old one and the new one is there's embossing in these. So there are roses embossed in this new Gemini one, whereas in the original one there is no embossing in it. I'm going to show comparisons now. I only brought the KKW Beauty Camo palette with me. I think I gave that to Dionluvsmakeup too, but you know, this brand doesn't exist anymore. But if you have this palette, you might think it's similar enough to where you don't need it. Who is Instagramming me at 10 o'clock at night? Because those are Instagram messages you hear from my phone vibrating. But this is what both the palettes look like. As you can see, they have somewhat similar tones. There's no black in on the KKW one. It's a brown, and there's not as many greens in it as this one. But we all know milk loves green, so I'm sure I can go in my collection find 3 more milk palettes with green. Matter of fact, I think I have. Do I have the what's that palette here? The 420, because I remade my 420, but it still has, like, you know, shades of limited. No, I don't think it's here. I think I took it back. Let me check. Now here it is at the bottom. Okay, so this is 420. I redid my 420. Actually took some of the shades from the Gemini palette and put in here, so mine doesn't look the same. And it's gonna have obviously similar shades because I took shades out of the Gemini to make this one. But this is what both of them look like. As you can see, that green up there is the same green I put down here, and then the green shimmer up here is the same green shimmer I put right here. So my 420 isn't gonna look the same. I took basically the beige shades out of the Gemini for people my skin tone, but that's them side by side if anyone's curious. I mean, I know it probably wasn't that helpful since, you know, they're not the same. It's not the original palette, but since we were here and it was here and we're all here, I figured I'd just show you. Why not? Doesn't hurt anything. I need to declutter some more eyeshadow palettes because I keep getting a million palettes in but not getting rid of anything, and that's fine. Anyway, so next I have the Gemini 2. This is what she looks like. I'll show you the inside of her. It has a lot of powder kick up on it, which I don't understand. But you know, this is what it looks like. And this is what the outer packaging looks like. So it's black and the other one is green. I'm going to show you, I think, only 2 palettes for this one. I'm going to show you He Heals Should Not Be Mentioned. So this is what it looks like. And I'll put it up against this palette. Because I thought of this palette and this one when I saw this one. It has a couple more bright shades in it, but I feel like it has some similar grungy shades to this one and some of the shades to the other one. I meant to bring my LYS Cosmetics Meet Me in the Underworld palette, but I forgot to. But again, you can go to Gel Beauty 87's Instagram page. Over this weekend I'll try to get that done, which basically means I'll try to get it done tomorrow before I take Adriangameover to the movies, because otherwise it ain't getting done anytime soon, because I still haven't done the one from the Beauty Bay video I did last week that I was supposed to do, so my bad. But I have, what is this, Behind the Mask from Cara Beauty. I feel like some of the colors in here are similar to it. It just has like added purples and bright pinks, but as you can see it has the same kind of similar color story to it. It's not nearly as grungy though. I haven't actually tried this palette either, so I can't tell you about the formula on this versus the formula on this. I haven't tried either one of them, but I feel like it could be a possible, like, somewhat similar color story, so I wanted to show it to you. And last, it isn't really that close at all, but I figured I would show it anyway just because it has pinks and greens just like this does. And this is the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. This is what it looks like alongside this one. To me, this has more like 420 mixed with millennial pinks and a couple of shades that look like they should belong in smoke sessions to make this palette. And this is just more of like a grungier tone palette on its own. I kind of wanted to put this one up against with the She's in Parties, but it's like we all know those aren't going to be similar at all, because She's in Parties is more like the purpley burgundy shades, and this is in those shades. I thought it was interesting that they put Lovesick in here though, because if you all remember, Lovesick is actually the name of one of their stacks that they originally came out with. They had a stack called Lovesick. So I'm wondering if that's the shade from the stack Lovesick or not, because I don't think the Lovesick stack is here. Let me check, because I do have like 2 or 3 stacks in the store next to me, and that might be the same shade. Fixated. Yeah, I think it might be the same shade, because look at this red, and then let's show the red in that palette. I think it looks a little bit darker to me though. I'm gonna swatch both of them and then we got to find out. So I didn't want to mess up the embossing, so I didn't want to dig in it too much. Okay, no, so it looks like, oh god, this is so dry and crusty because it's so old. Jesus. Okay, there's that one. Swatching the Lovesick a little bit more without messing up the rose too much, because I haven't even used it yet. I normally don't swatch, but I was just curious because both of them are named Lovesick, so I was like, was this the same Lovesick as the other Lovesick? But no, they don't look the same to me. Like, they look like different tones of shades. Just in case you do have that palette, yeah, because this is the one that's in the palette and this is original. So to me, the original looks much brighter than this one. This looks like a more deeper, like burgundy shade, and this looks like a more bright red burgundy shade. As weird as that sounds. So okay, so it's not the same. I'm wondering when they're gonna start coming up with other palettes for the other stacks. Like, we still haven't got a Lovesick palette, we still haven't got a gunmetal palette. I don't know if Mary Jane is supposed to be a substitute for them making the gunmetal palette, so I wonder what they would substitute for Lovesick, because Lovesick has weird shades like this in it, and you just saw the shade Lovesick itself, and then this weird purple shade. And I think I took this shade out of gunmetal and put it in here instead of something else. Don't quote me though, because I'm not 100%. I think it was a really like bright white bone colored like shade that they used to put in a lot of stacks that someone my skin tone can't wear. So I'm pretty sure that blue is from the palette I just said, gunmetal. I mean, sorry, stack I just said gunmetal. But yeah, those are all the palettes I have to compare. Now I'm gonna go off camera, do an eye look. If you're curious for my eyes now, this is of course the Patrick Ta Measure Dimensions Volume 2 Rose palette, but I'm gonna come in close. You see the cute little eye look that I did with this. This video should already be up, but this video you're watching now is gonna go up on Sunday. I'm hoping I can get the Patrick Ta up Saturday. I'm gonna go off camera, do a look with the Gemini 2 palette first. Then we're gonna do a look with the Gemini 1, and then we will go over my thoughts. Okay? Okay. Okay, so this is what we worked on when it came to the eye look. I didn't have that many colors to choose from, y'all, so this is what you're getting. I don't know. Sorry. But so I just took this one right here, these, sorry, this one right here, then I took, yeah, this one, this one, this one, and this one to make the eye look that's going on now. So I'm gonna take my Mented Cosmetics 24-hour eyeshadow primer and use that. I've been trying to test it out some more because she wanted us to leave reviews on her website and tell her how it was, so that's what I'm going to do. I've used it so far. The last, probably this will be, I believe, the second week of me using it. But I only use it when I'm on camera. Otherwise, I just use whatever's at my house, because, you know, I'm going to end up leaving it at home when I need to still practice with it some more and get like my thoughts on it. Going to the shade Almond Eyes, which is the name of that green I just showed you I put on. It's just a standard look that I came up with. I don't know, I wasn't excited to play with this palette because everybody's coming out with a rose tone palette. I am excited for Angels though, just because it's giving more of the sparkly purplish mauve tones and not necessarily like greens and like just rose tones added in, because I feel like since they do so much green, it'd be nice to have just like an all rose tone palette. But I feel like this palette would pair well with the Cheese and Parties palette, so I'll probably do something with this in Cheese and Parties, because since this has more of the red tones in it, and then it has more of the deepy plum tones in it, I think I'll be liking that a little bit better than necessarily the way it's set up now. I understand it has like the greens for the stem of the rose, and then the brown for like the dirt and the brown where the rose goes, and then it has like the nice different colored rose tones in it. So it's like I get where the color story is coming from as far as that goes. I'm just, since everybody's coming to rose palettes at one time, my mother's already been giving us rose palettes for years. I'm just kind of like, at this point in time. So we're gonna take the shade Lovesick now. The one I showed you all at the beginning of this. And I'm putting that in the rest of the crease. If you hear the noise in the background, that is my son, Adriangameover. Apparently he wants to leave the room and do something, but you know, I guess he's scared he's gonna make a lot of noise, but it's like, either way they can hear you. Next we're going to take the shade Sweetheart. That's the lighter pink that I use. And I use the very light pink called Bella in the inner corner as a matte highlight. Don't know how I necessarily feel about that, but when there's only 2 shimmer shades in the palette, I don't have much to choose from. Which is another reason I'm going to probably most likely pair this palette with the She's in Parties, because I can use the shade Lovesick along with the darker tones in there, and then, or I can just use the darkest tone in Lovesick and then She's in Parties. Use the lighter mattes all over the lid, and then take that shade Skeleton Key, which is a really pretty shimmer shade, to put in the inner corner and make a nice soft look with combining those 2 palettes. So, and since the Melt palettes are like the ColourPop palettes where you can just pop out stuff, that's another reason I like it. So I'm probably just gonna go ahead and do that. So it's not that the color story is bad, it's since you know they do so much green, it'd been nice to have more like just a reddish toned palette to go with the green tone Gemini. Anyway, we're gonna take the shade Mateo now. I just put a little bit of that toward the back where the green matte was. Okay, now we're gonna go into the shade Smooth. That's what they call in the reddish, brighter shade. I'm putting it in front of the eye. Now let's get this matte in the corner going. So took the shade Bella, like I said, that's the lightest pink shade in the palette. Just gonna pop it in the inner corner. I was gonna put the burgundy shade from Patrick Ta in the waterline, then I remembered I still had film with Gemini 1. Then I still gotta turn around and use Heather Austin's palette. So I think I'm gonna film the first look from her palette first, so that way I don't have like the weird green color in there for the colors that Dionluvsmakeup and I are doing for the collab. And then when I do the second look, then I can use the second look with Heather's palette, and then it doesn't matter, I have that in the waterline, because that's what the second look's gonna be like, the greenish and bluish, the greenish musky color type shade. So that's gonna be the plan. So there will be nothing in the waterline because of that, but this is pretty much the finished look. So my thoughts on the palette, I feel like you heard me mostly through, and that's why I was talking mostly through it, so that way you could get an idea of how I felt about it. The color story is fine, the quality is the same as the original Gemini, so if you like the quality of the original Gemini, you'll like it. I just wish they had left the greens out and made this all red palette, so that way it made sense to buy the bundle, because it's like, if it's greens in this one too, and then the other one is mainly green and black, what is the purpose of me buying this one when I can just buy She's in Parties and have, like, you know, a somewhat similar color story? I mean, no She's in Parties, it's more like a mauve-ish tone one, but it's like, if you had a limited edition palette, you already have these reds. If you have the millennial pinks, you already have some of these pinks, and they just pop some greens in because they love green. I love green too, but it's like, since they do so much green, I'd rather just had, you know, like a all red palette to pair with the Gemini palette with all green, which would have made the bundle make sense for the people who don't already own Gemini, or the people who do already own Gemini and just wanted to refresh one like I did. Anyway, those are my thoughts. We're gonna get into the next palette, which would be the original Gemini. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the look with the original Gemini palette. I must say, I'm really liking the way it looks. Let's get into it. So I'm just putting on the eye base from Mented Cosmetics again. It's the only one I've been using so far. So this is the OG palette, just with embossing added onto it, because from what I've used, I feel like the formula of this one is the same as with the original one they came out with originally. I thought they were going to update the formula, but I believe in an email post that they put out said the formula was the same. So I'm going to start off with the shade Bonnie, which is the black shade. And just flare that out, because I originally flared it on the other side, but you know, just do one side, just do the other one, and then kind of just took it. I always try to give myself the cat eye shape if I can. So I'm gonna stop it right there. Was basically what the brow bone is. Then I went in with the green shade Leo and put that literally like right on the crease right here, but don't bring it up high like I normally would. I literally just set it right in the pocket right here of the eye. So just blend it right here, and then I mix the shades Fire, OG, and Mochi, and dusted that over the top right here. So we got a nice gradient of greens from darkest to lightest. That was the purpose of really just putting in the crease and then the rest behind. So we're gonna start off with Fire OG and dust that over the top right here on top of what we already put down, which was Leo. I like the smokiness of it. And then I want Fire OG, I want Mochi over Fire OG to make it a little bit brighter, because I want a little bit of brightness toward the front to go with the brightness of the green shimmer, and I wanted the darkness toward the back. So, what I called myself trying to do. But, you know, running like so. I hope you all saw that. My head went down too low. I need to change my lip, but it's next to looks, because I still have one more look to do after this one. So I will be changing my lip for the pictures, but I was like, for right now, we can just keep the berry tone lip. As you all know, I put the berry tone lip on to go with Gemini too, since it's supposed to be more of a berry toned palette. So that's what we got going on right now. Now I'm going to take the shimmer in the shade Goals. Now literally just the empty space that was on my lid left over is where I put Goals. I didn't try to put it anywhere else. So it's literally just like a random line of shimmer going down like the eye like so. And try to bring it up any higher, put it anywhere extra. Just where the empty space was is where the shimmer went. That's it. As you can see. I like the way it looks though. And then I just put the liquid liner on in my inner corner. So I'm gonna do the inner corner with you. I'll do liquid liner off camera when I go to change my lip. And again, with these oranges looking shades for the inner corners today. This is the second time I have to do this today, but this is literally the only bright shimmer in the palette, so I don't have too much of a choice. Is this one or go in another palette and get a shimmer out? So what I didn't really like about the original state of this one was the fact that, well, you know, you have like nudish tones and then some random greens. Well, not random, but you like have the more everyday side, and then you have like the grungy green side. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of that as far as the color story goes, but overall the palette works nice and it's the same quality as the original one. So if you were concerned about them changing the formula or the quality of the palette because they came out with a part 2, it's the same. So I like them. They're good normal melt quality as opposed to like the what is it, the Millennial Pinks that everybody says is horrible, and the 420 that wasn't as great as other palettes they come out with. It's not that kind of quality. So if you're concerned, it's not that. Don't worry about it. So those are my thoughts. You saw my 2 eye looks. Oh yeah, we got to put the pencil in the waterline. So I got the one in shade Olive. This was the one that felt like was most unique for me to have for my collection. So let's go ahead and put that on here. I think this is a gorgeous color. I feel like it gives this look an extra like pop of color. And it ties in with the inner corner color nicely. It's nice and creamy and smooth. I didn't have any issues with it going on there, and as you see, it's quite opaque, so I'm liking that. But that's all the stuff I had to try and talk to you about. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you're all the diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.